Thank you so much, Steph. The Donald Trump era as president is into its final hours, with this being his last full day in the Oval Office. And it's going to be a busy one, with Trump considering as many as 100 pardons or commutations. But he will not be on that list. Trump will be skipping Joe Biden's inauguration tomorrow, the first president in more than 150 years to pass on that event. And another omission, First Lady Melania did not give the traditional White House tour to incoming First Lady Jill Biden. Now, Trump had no public appearances yesterday, and as he prepares to leave the White House, he will be getting a scaled-back military send-off at 8 a.m. tomorrow before jetting off to his Florida home, very different from the farewell that he had likely wanted. Now, these are very historic times, but very tense hours in Washington. Security at an all-time high. On the optimistic side, the excitement surrounding the start of the Biden-Harris era at the White House. So a lot to talk about. Let's bring in CNN's Nadia Romero, who is live right now in the nation's capital and joins us with more. Nadia, I want to first get your take here. We see your backdrop. We know where you are. What is the feel right now in Washington?
Oh, good morning, Melanie. This is a completely different city than what we saw even just 2 weeks ago. This city is on lockdown, and as you walk around the city, you see tall, unscalable fences, barricades, and security checkpoints. We know that there's some 20,000 National Guard troops, and I've spoken with them on the streets here. There are different parts of the district where you're not allowed to drive a car, and then you have to get out at certain areas, and then you can walk, but only if you have inauguration credentials or something that says you're supposed to be there, right? Maybe you work in a hotel or a business that's on the other side of the perimeter. But even many of those businesses have shut down because D.C.'s mayor really wants people to stay out of the district so they can get these inauguration events off smoothly without having any trouble. This is a different city than what we saw even this summer during the summer protests. Right in front of the White House is Black Lives Matter Plaza, where a lot of the protests happen. People are still gathering there, but much smaller crowds, and nothing like what we saw, let's say, during President Barack Obama's second inauguration, when nearly 2 million people came to the district to see his second inauguration. We won't have that this time around because of the pandemic and because of that attempted siege at the Capitol on January 6th.
Well, indeed.
Melanie?
Yeah, a lot to discuss here, and breaking with the various traditions that as we had mentioned earlier, you're not going to see President Trump at this inauguration. I think something that President-elect Joe Biden actually spoke out about, saying, listen, that's okay. But what are we expecting for Trump's final day here? What does the timeline look like?
Yeah, there are so many traditions that the Trump family is deciding not to follow through with. Melania Trump did not show the incoming First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, the White House. It's usually the First Ladies walk through the White House on a tour and they have a meeting. The presidents usually meet at some point during this transition. And we know that in recent years, the last few administrations, they've written letters to the incoming president. And we saw the Obamas do this with the Trumps, even though President Trump and Melania Trump were what we would consider birthers, people who question the birth and the citizenship of President Obama. A lot of people said that that was deeply rooted in racism, but the Obamas still met with the Trumps and did all the traditional things, because it's not just about you as a person and your character as a president or the outgoing First Lady, but it's also about appearances. And we like to pride ourselves here in the U.S. on our democracy, and so this is an example to the rest of the world. We're not doing that this time. The Trump family deciding not to meet with the Bidens, not to do the traditional things that we normally see during this transfer of power. We do expect the president, though, today in his final full day in office to issue some 100 pardons, likely celebrities, people who are very influential. That's who he's pardoned in the past, and including Trump loyalists. And we're also expecting him to sign a slew of executive orders. Now, this is pretty much basically what happens when someone's leaving office, but the new administration will likely come in and reverse some of those executive orders. But that's what we're expecting from President Donald Trump today. We're also quickly, Melanie, hoping for a video release of a message, a farewell video that President Trump reportedly already shot, but we don't have a timeline on when that might be released.
Okay,
Melanie?
And we did see something coming out from First Lady Melania, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Nadia Romero live for us in Washington. Thank you. And of course, we're going to bring you the very latest on Trump's final day coming up here on Breakfast Television.